Bits Brewed! Here we are with White Dwarf issue 457. And on the front we've got some Eldar. And on the back, Necron. Very nice, very nice. Let's get into it. Okay, so issue 457, what's a flashpoint? Flashpoints are a collection of contents about a specific area or conflict at a given point in time. This issue has the Warhammer 40k flashpoint Argovon system, which we'll probably see in a little while. In fact, I know we will see it because I've already looked through. So yeah, look at the contents. And on the contact page, this is probably one of my favourite contact pages in a while. I'm really loving this terrain that Paul Christie, his 11-year-old daughter Brianna, has made those buildings, which, wow, very impressive. Really good to see kids getting into Warhammer, teaching them well, clearly. And what else have we got? It's got some a squig, Intercessor Sergeant, very good stuff. And over here, some more homeschooling, Warhammer style. And moving on, we've got a Wolfguard Terminator on a really cool base there. I really like the snow. I love snowy bases. I think they're pretty underrated. And what looks like Stormcast on a beast. That's really cool. Got a Delac gang down there. Craig's done a Delac gang in a really cool style. So if you want to check that out, have a look at his YouTube video on that. Bit more about making your own rules. And a couple more of people's submissions. And moving on, we've got the model of the month. Fantastic rendition of Archon the Black, which was painted by Daniel Jackson. So we asked him how he painted Nagash's favourite lieutenant. So you can read a little bit more about that. I'm liking the colour scheme he's chosen for that too. And onto a little bit of fiction. In the Black Library, the Terminus, local myth has it that a mysterious train runs on moonless nights, taking people to untold treasures. But are myths true, and what awaits at the Terminus? So it's a Warhammer horror story by David Annandale. So if you're interested in fiction, there's a little bit of that to get into over the next few pages. Moving on to Worlds of Warhammer, delving into the background of Age of Sigmar on 40k. So this month, Age of Sigmar background writer Jordan Green joins us to talk about something funny. Okay. Jordan has been a member of the Warhammer studio for little over a year now, and he's already settling in well, having worked on both Seraphon and Slaves to Darkness battle tomes. We're pretty certain that sitting next to Phil Kelly every day has started to rub off on him too. For a start, he seems to be listening to a lot more rave music. So, there you go. A little bit more reading into that. Probably not rave music, but... And moving on to Age of Sigmar. Some really cool trolls on the front there. That's just an awesome double page spread. I'm a bit of a fan of the Troggoths, so yeah, you've got some more squigs joining them down there and all sorts. So a bit more on the Tome Celestial. Woe betide anyone caught in the way of their brutish onslaught. And a bit more on that. Some purple-ish schemed ones. Just surrounded by some really cool terrain as well. Always so impressive in here. So much to get inspired by. And a little bit on Ages of Unthinking Destruction. No one knows for certain how many trog herds are stomping their way across the mortal realms at any given time. The first inkling of their approach is typically a distant rumbling and a foul scent drifting on the winds. By the time The Troggoths have focused their limited attention on destroying all of them. It is too late for those who dare stand fast in the face of such an unstoppable force. So it's a bit looking at the background on that. And moving on to Tame Celestial. So these are some rules you can play with Stomping Megamob. And an army showcase. Inspired by the Trogherd army of Jezbigum. Looking at a closer look at the army itself in all its dank, clammy and very hitty glory. Pretty awesome army. Again, I'm a little biased. I do like them. I'm a fan of the Gloomspite. And a bit more on painting Glog's Megamob. This is always one of my favourite sections in White Dwarf. If you've watched more of these videos before, you'll know that. I love seeing how you can get the actual finished effect with what paints. Obviously, depending on the skill level, I don't think I could achieve that finish, but it's interesting to see how it's done anyway. And on to Rules of Engagement. So Jarvis Johnson wants to make a few interesting points about points. So looking at, he's been instrumental in the design of the multitude of great games during that time that he's been in the Warhammer studio. In the previous issue, we mentioned that Jarvis' points cost is 220. That has been changed to 240 following a recent errata. Apparently his spellcasting capabilities exceeded expectations. So a look at points in the Rules of Engagement. On to Golden Demon, the Monster Slayer interview. Golden Demon is the most prestigious Warhammer painting competition in the world, with countless painters from across the globe taking part. Here we chat to Slayer Sword winner Maxime Panaud about his love of painting and his winning entry from Golden Demon 2019. And wow, I can definitely see why the intricacies on these models are just very impressive. I love the way that they've made that blue sort of look glowing. Really cool. Really amazing stuff. And here too, on a mutated forest giants, which he sculpted almost entirely from scratch. Wow. Okay. And a little bit more on the second Slayer sword, which he lovingly converted and painted for Golden Demon 2019. So that was the 2019 entry. And there's a bit of an interview with him as well, talking about, oh, awesome. Wow, okay, so they're going into the work in progress on the dank cold Trogboss. He took loads of pictures and showed how he basically sculpted and resculpted parts. I mean, the finish on that is just very, very impressive. Like the knee, look at the knee. So much detail. Anyway, moving on. Warhammer 40k. And here's the flashpoint that we mentioned earlier. Flashpoint Argavon system. So the galaxy is being torn asunder, new war zones exploding into life with ever-increasing frequency. In this inaugural Flashpoint article, we present new background, rules and fiction for one such engagement, the Argavon campaign. Looking a bit more about that. So this is something new that White Dwarf's doing. I believe there will be more of these. Some campaign rules for the Argavon campaign. And a few more rules here. Argavon campaign agendas. So yeah, this looks like an interesting thing to get your teeth into if you enjoy the playing side of it as well. And Flashpoint Crescent Rise. So this is a short story by Callum Davis. A little bit about the Flashpoint. So if you're into your fiction, you'll enjoy this issue. And onto Galactic War Zones, Forge Worlds, ongoing series of articles. This is about Forge Worlds. So, having a look at AdMech and the Imperium as a whole. And a bit more on painting your armies again. Always one of my preferred articles. Looking at, Battle Sister, Sister Battle, Necron, bit on Tau and Imperial Fists. So giving you some tips on painting. And now, converting. Something that I definitely need to try out a little bit more. And I'm always so impressed by people's innovative creations when it comes to converting. So yeah, there's some examples there for you to get inspiration from. Orc Shroud Bomber by Lewis Collins, very impressive, really cool. And Hunter Killer War Robot by Thomas Elliott, that's amazing. I am absolutely loving that rusted effect, really cool. Very, very effective. Onto painting Forge World scenery. Another little bit on a bit of terrain, industrial terrain, and echoes from the warp. It's not Robin Crudace this month. It is games developer Elliot Hamer. He's here to talk about trial and error. That's definitely a big part of playing Warhammer, trial and error. You learn a lot from even one battle. So yeah, on to Beastgrave. Glory points. A little bit looking at... he said he's willing to divulge any and all information in exchange for cake. With regards to Blackstone Fortress, Blitzbolt, Crypt Hunters, Arena Mortis, and several other things that are just too secret to talk about at the moment. Looking a bit more about Beastgrave. And a bit of fiction on Beastgrave, The Beasts Within. This is another short story, this time by Phil Kelly. So yeah, like I said, if you're into your fiction, you'll enjoy this issue very much. Onto a bit of tactics with Beastgrave, Path to Victory, presenting an in-depth tactical guide to 2 more of the warbands from Warhammer Underworld's Beastgrave. So, looking at a little bit about them. I'm actually really loving the colour scheme here. Very nice. Wow! What is it good for? Bit more on some tactics. Definitely a very important part, if not the most important part of playing Warhammer. Obviously, you've got to have fun as well, but I'm competitive, so. Onto photography, the scenes of battle. Looking at Gareth Etherington, who's been blogging about Warhammer for over a decade, and in that time he's seen many stunning photographs of his miniatures, including the atmospheric scenes featured in this article. So talking about basically photographing scenes with your Warhammer armies, involving some intricate looks at how they do that. So I mean, these pictures are just incredible. I think this one's probably my favourite. definitely some tricks with lighting going on there, so you can have a little bit more of a read into how to get some interesting pictures of your Warhammer. Just some incredible photographs here, and obviously the model painting makes a massive difference, but the poses and the lighting definitely gives it a different edge. And onto Blackstone Fortress, new rules, Men of Metal. Looking into that. Some new rules there. Combat challenge. Combat. And onto Middle-earth Tactica. The Pale Orc Cometh. Middle-earth Team's rules writer, Jay Clare, is back this month to impart his wisdom on using another of Middle-earth's mightiest heroes in your game. But just who is he here to talk about this month? None other than the fearsome Azog the Defiler. And a little bit more on Middle-earth. Ooh, okay, and here we've got Necromunda, campaign advice. Now, this is something we're hoping to do in the future here at Bitzbox. Looking at all things Necromunda here. Bit of advice on how to play. Got Delight Cult down there. Really nice work. Chaos Cult. Really awesome. And a bit talking about running your own campaigns. And onto a little bit more fiction. Like I said, this issue's fiction heavy, but if that's what you're into, you're gonna love reading all this. So this article has been ongoing throughout the past, I suppose, 13 issues. Faith of Fire by James Swallow, piece of fiction. Lots to read there. Over the next few pages. And finally, outside the studio, as we come to the end of the magazine, we take a look at the games people have been playing and the models they've been painting over the past month. This issue, Unquiet Spirits, A Blood Drinker, Big Guns, Little Games, Underhive Scum, and Silver Saviours. Nice. I'm loving these Nighthaunt over here. Looking really cool. Gives them a really nice ghostly glow. Looking really good. And finally, Silver Skulls by Darren Latham. Silver Skulls, Space Marines. I really like that colour scheme. That's really cool. Looking good. Right, and unfortunately we've reached the end. So yeah, we will see you next time. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and see you soon.
If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. You can also click that bell icon to be notified when a new video has gone live on this channel. On the screen now are 2 more videos that you may wish to check out, and a link to our Patreon page also. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.